It's 10 o'clock. As you know, protocol, we will give people just those 2 minutes to log in, and we are ready to provide you with an amazing presentation regarding open education resources already curated and collected for you. For this webinar this morning, on behalf of the Tennessee State OER team, we're going to tag team each other, and we're going to present open education resources where you understand the benefits, you understand what it is, how to use, and how about some hands-on where you'll be able to leave here today and use it right after this presentation. So with that, we'll give everyone 1 minute and make sure you have your computer ready. Because again, you're going to not only hear about OER, you are going to do OER, and that's open education resources. So welcome, and if you would be so kind to put your name and email in the chat, because we're going to follow up with you, because you might search for something and you go, I couldn't find that. Our team's ready right now to help you. So with that, everyone, let me introduce myself. I'm Robbie Melton, and I'm part of the Tennessee State University Open Education Affordable Learning Solution team. And I'm going to introduce my team, but a little housekeeping item. We are using technology. Oh, what a blessing that we can continue to communicate, to collaborate, and we're at home. However, with that, there might be some glitches with technology. And for us, we go, hey, life is good. So with that, I think that we are all set to rock and roll. I'm going to share my screen. And in sharing my screen, I'm going to go to my PowerPoint. And here's slide, and I think we're ready to roll. So again, welcome on behalf of Open Education Week, presented by a collaboration of stakeholders from THAC, Higher Education, TBR, Tennessee Board of Regents, and all of our collective schools. And with that, I am pleased to share with you the team of OER. Again, myself, Robbie Melton, Dr. Deborah Chisom, who is the project manager, and our trainer and researcher, Dr. Effua, Ampadu, and we got a consultant, and that is Dr. Tokesha Warner, who is helping us with the project. So with that, everyone, I need for you to buckle up, because as I shared before, we're going to team tag each other throughout this presentation. I would like to share and start off as the PI that this is about a portal that is designed for higher education subjects, ready for you to take hold of right now. We're using the MERLOT system that was developed out of the California system. This system has been around since 1990, which is a collaboration of universities, not only here in the States, but across the globe, in bringing information, textbooks, teaching and learning materials to you at no cost or just a little cost, able to let you create, design, and offer your courses online, hybrid, and on ground, where the resources are free to your students. So you all know students cannot learn from books that they cannot afford. We also know from the previous presentation The average cost of textbooks running from $1,000 to $1,200 a year. We also know that 7 out of 10 students don't purchase a required textbook because of the cost, and 60% of students have delayed purchasing textbook until they receive their financial aid, which you all know out there can take up to 2 to 3 weeks. Therefore, looking at the rise and the inflation of textbook, you see that it continues to outpace current inflation rates. And let's just take a moment. Where does all of this money go in terms of textbooks? If you take $1 and chopped it up, you will see 77.9% of the textbook wholesale cost goes to the publisher. The publisher. And look, only 1 cent goes for freight. And now we're talking digital, so that's probably at no cost. College stores, college personnel, and departments, 77 cents. So one thing is very clear, everyone. The current textbook market is failing to meet the needs of our education system. They're failing the need of our students. And a growing alternative is open education resources, commonly known as OER, which are learning materials published under a license that give you all permission to share, adapt, and retain at no cost to the user. So what is the problem, and why is this such a thing where people don't get it? Well, in 2016, a national survey by Allen and Seaman found that most higher education faculty are unaware of open education resources. So our project is to yell out, blast out, go through social media, and work as a collaborative like Open Education Week of this week to let faculty members know that there are quality, rigorous materials ready right now for them to use for teaching and learning. So with that, I want to bring up Dr. Tokesha Warner, who is our educational consultant, and she conducted a faculty survey regarding OER from 2018 to 2019. She also completed her doctoral dissertation on OER, perceptions and attitude. She's a trainer, she's a consultant, and she's experienced using OER. Dr. Tokesha Warner, you can take over from here.
Thank you so much, Dr. Melton, and I'm going to share my screen. Right, so the research behind OER, in particular, we wanted to find out what some of the challenges were, particularly for HBCU faculty. And OER is primarily promoted for reducing student textbook costs. And so how do you promote it to faculty as a way to enhance their teaching capacity and efficacy? So for this population, for our project, we had 7 universities participating in the ALS, Alternative Learning Solutions pilot program, and faculty surveys were collected throughout the project. We had a lot of data collection, but particularly today, we're going to focus on the very first survey and what faculty thought were their challenges. So we had a number of public and private institutions. The largest participant we had was our private institution. So you'll see they had a much higher response rate in terms of the faculty. And just as some of you all are providing faculty incentives, all of the institutions were provided faculty incentives, but the one private institution went above and beyond and were able to engage faculty without the incentives. So that was very surprising and a wonderful thing to have, and really gave us more data. I wanted to show you all just the positions that the faculty members had, because it's very interesting. We always assume that our early career faculty are going to be our early adopters. And we really had a range of faculty participating. And so we're all looking for those early adopters when we're trying to launch OER on our campuses. And the number of teaching seniority, I guess is the best way to put that, was surprising as well. Again, it was not only the early career faculty. A range of knowledge about OER, but as you can tell, a vast majority of them were not familiar or only had a passing familiarity with OER. And very few had prior use, if any. After initial training workshop on OER, the faculty were surveyed about their perceptions regarding OER, particularly for teaching enhancement, not just for student benefit. And so these were their perceptions, which is wonderful. One training session, and you can see faculty are excited and ready to try. So the next step is, what did they think their challenges were? What concerns did they have, and what challenges would hinder their ability to effectively implement OER? And we wanted to make sure if these were in line with the national average or if additional resources would be necessary. So they're very consistent with the national average and the national OER surveys. What support did they needed? We did go a step further and ask them what support they needed. And as you all can see, the training and technical support and assistance was the primary thing. Time, that's something we all wish we had more of. And so in our approach to teaching faculty and training faculty on OER, we wanted to make sure we provided them the most time-effective strategies, and MERLOT helped us to do that. So our lessons learned. We know awareness does not always lead to action. We know strategic planning is necessary. The biggest factor and our institution that had the most participants was institutional leadership involvement. Communication from their leadership. They had directive from the president and constant communication from the president of the institution in support of OER and enthusiastic about OER. And within 1 year's time, they were able to change their entire first 2 years worth of courses utilizing only OER. So again, we all start with the fundamentals, the faculty workshops for introduction, and how we follow up on that is very important. And so one of my favorite sayings is from Star Trek and Captain Picard.
Make it so, number one.
All right, thank you very much. And now I would like to turn it over to, I believe now we're going to take a quick look at a video giving some background on OER. Dr. Melton, I don't hear any sound.
You on mute. You on mute, Dr. Melton.
Here we go.
Oh.
Life is good. Woo!
Yes.
Life is good. So
Yes.
let's do that again. And here we go. And let's see if we can play that from scratch. And can you hear it?
Yes, ma'am.
Life is good.
The use of textbooks in university courses is as common as ice cream on a hot summer day. On average, students in the US spend about $600 per year on textbooks. Canadian students spend around $385 per semester. Commercial textbooks are expensive, and students report that these prices negatively impact their learning and time to graduation. But as some professors have discovered, there is an alternative to the expensive textbooks that come from commercial publishers. These alternatives are called Open Educational Resources, or OER. OER are teaching and learning materials that are free and give students permissions to access, read, and share them. These resources come with licenses that allow instructors to revise or remix them to better fit with their courses. Some professors already use OER. Others have not even heard of them. But when they do, they wonder if these free resources are as effective or of the same quality as the textbooks they currently use. Over the past few years, several researchers have been studying open educational resources. Dr. John Hilton recently published a systematic analysis of the effectiveness of these resources and the perceptions students and professors have about them. Based on the results of this research, we think that open educational resources have the potential to make higher education more accessible to students. Dr. Hilton's paper focused on the available literature. The literature consisted of 16 empirical studies that examined courses where OER had replaced traditional textbooks. Some of these studies looked at learning outcomes and student success rates to judge how effective these resources were. Others looked at the perception students and professors had of open educational resources. Here's what the analysis of these studies showed. The studies that looked at the effectiveness of OER generally compared groups of students who had used the resources to groups of students that had used the textbook. Most of these studies found that students who used the OER had higher test scores, lower failure rates, or lower dropout rates than students who had used the traditional textbook. Only one study suggested that OER were connected with lower levels of success for some of the students. The studies that looked at student and professor perceptions of OER revealed that the majority of students and professors viewed open educational resources positively. A sizable majority felt that OER were of better quality than traditional textbooks. About half said that they were of similar quality, and only a few thought that OER were inferior. Students liked OER because they were free. Professors liked the open content and up-to-date material. In his paper, Dr. Hilton is careful to note that none of the studies he reviewed claimed that OER caused higher test scores or fewer dropouts. Many studies had design limitations that might have influenced their findings. For example, in a number of studies, the open educational resources were just one part of a larger course redesign, such as flipping or blending. Full summaries and critiques of each of the studies are included in the paper and can be found on the website of the Open Education Group, which is constantly being updated to include new material. To recap, there are two key findings in this work. First, using open educational resources does not decrease student learning. Students generally did better, not worse, when using free OER compared to expensive textbooks. Second, OER are generally perceived to be as good as, if not better than, traditional textbooks. Students and professors both expressed that OER were of high quality, and unlike printed textbooks, they offered flexibility. These findings should lead us to question the value of traditional textbooks. As Dr. Hilton asks, if the average college student spends so much money on a textbook and yet performs no better than the student who uses free OER, what exactly is being purchased with all that money? A more detailed discussion of the significant implications can be found in the published paper. Thanks a lot for tuning in. If you liked the summary of this paper,
So with that, everyone, and knowing the key data, it's time for us to jump in to see what is it that MERLOT offers in terms of open education resources for higher education. I am pleased to now present to you Dr. Effua Ampadu, who is the researcher, faculty training, and the OER eSport curator and our HBCU, Historically Black College and University coordinators. Now, this is going to be a very interesting off the grid presentation because as she presents, our whole team will ask questions that we think you might ask. And because all of you are muted, you can put other questions in the chat so we can read those, but we're really going to deep dive into what is OER. But just to start you off, give me a few more minutes to explain open education in more detail because this will segue into MERLOT where you will start using this right away. So with that, let me present the overview.
Welcome to this video on open educational resources, a brief exploration. Let's get started. So what is OER? OER consists of content such as articles, books, audio, images, video, software, and digital tools that one is licensed to retain, reuse, revise, remix, and redistribute. The idea is that you can take all sorts of interesting material out there, book chapters, images, articles, and mix them together, as well as edit and augment them as you see fit, and then provide those to your students as learning materials. Now, all of this is done through what's called Creative Commons licensing, or CC licensing. For those not familiar with copyright, when you want to use a copyrighted work, you have to get explicit permission to use that work from the copyright holder. With CC licensing, that idea is flipped on its head, and the creator provides this license so that people can freely use the creator's content with some stipulations, but they do not have to ask permission. It's granted from the beginning. Those stipulations are usually clarified in the license to expectations around attribution, resharing of the content you might create with the author's content, clarity around whether you can profit from using the work, and whether you are allowed to alter the work or not. Since 2004, CC licensing has become quite popular, with over 1.1 billion licenses created in the first 13 years. You can find material with CC licenses in abundance in places such as Flickr, YouTube, the Internet Archive, the Public Library of Science, and many more. To know if something has a CC license or not, you'll want to look for the CC icon accompanied by any of the limitations on the left-hand side that we mentioned. If you came across this particular license at the bottom, then you would know it was a Creative Commons license that requires attribution and for the users to share alike should they use the content in any way. So why use OER? There's benefits for both students and faculty. For students, it means reducing the cost of expensive textbooks. Students may pay over $1,000 a year for textbooks. That's about $4,000 by the end of their education. Because textbooks are expensive, students often won't pay or can't pay for the textbooks. This means students may not take a course or take it but jeopardize their success by not obtaining the required materials. Also, with OER, students can gain access to the materials on the first day or earlier if the instructor desires. There's no longer worrying about the right edition or waiting for financial aid vouchers. Instant access on day one. Students can also have permanent access. They can hold on and own this material for as long as they want. Typically with textbooks, they will sell it back to get some money back. If they're using a digital textbook, they often only have access for a limited time, such as 1 year, after which they can no longer get to the material. Finally, it also makes room for a wider range of materials and formats that may not be available in a traditional textbook. Faculty also benefit from using OER material. OER allows faculty to edit and update the content. Legally, an instructor could not change something that has a copyright, but with CC licensed material, faculty can update as they need. The other side of this is that textbooks are often putting out new editions every other year, even if nothing significant has changed in the field. Therefore, using OER allows faculty to keep the versions that they feel is best rather than leave it up to the publisher. Faculty can also now blend and mix material as they see fit. Maybe a chapter from this book mixed with a few paragraphs from this article and a bit of the instructor's own insight. OER also provides content that the faculty member can use to maximize learning. They can choose 3 to 4 different items, such as an article, a podcast, a video, and a simulation, to explore a topic and let students decide which format works best for them. OER also opens up new teaching opportunities and strategies such as open pedagogy, where students are co-creating and co-editing the learning materials for themselves and for future learners. So how might you go about using OER? There are several strategies that are useful to consider for approaching this. The first strategy is adopt. In this strategy, you curate content into your lessons based upon what's out there. A video here, a podcast there, a slide deck from somewhere else. The second strategy is adapt. Here, you take content that's out there, but you augment it. Maybe you directly add stuff or splice some interesting content together. The third strategy is build. Builders craft the content of their course from their own vision and expertise. Therefore, you might create an entire textbook or podcast series or mini lecture videos for your students to learn from. Where do you find OER? There's so many great places to find them.
So with that, everyone, you're going to do all 3. You're going to curate, you're going to craft and change and collaborate. And with that, get ready with your computers, because we now introduce to you all MERLOT, where we have already curated for you information, free textbooks, teaching and learning materials, blogs, wikis, simulation. How about full online courses? How about hybrid courses? We are here, and now my team will come on, and that will be with Dr. Chisom, Dr. Warner, and Dr. Ampadu, and myself, who will then walk you through live MERLOT. And I will stop sharing and take it over to you, Dr. Ampadu.
Thank you so much, Dr. Melton. And as Dr. Melton has stated, we have already had a curated collection within the business realm, agriculture, physics, chemistry, education. It goes on and on. In addition, MERLOT also offers portals for faculty development and library information in words. And aren't you guys just excited that you do not have to reinvent the wheel? We have already invented the wheel for you. And it is at no cost. You can create your own materials in MERLOT and add materials. We can do both, just like Dr. Melton has stated. You can add materials that you see online, that you see fit, that you think is going to be amazing to add to the collection, or you can change. Let me go ahead and bring up MERLOT so you guys can see what I'm talking about. Even on the TSU side, I have went ahead and started a eSports collection that that we use. Hold on, here we go. And within MERLOT, can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
Okay.
And I also put the MERLOT URL in the chat so people can click on it and follow along.
Great.
And can you show us those communities that you mentioned earlier that's already curated for us?
Yes, ma'am. You just go to communities, go to academic support communities, and you will be able to see the faculty development and ICT literacy, the library informations I was just speaking of. And also you can go to the discipline communities where you have the agriculture, environmental sciences, the biology, like I just said, the criminal justice, engineering, English, fire safety, health sciences. You can go to history, like everything is in here, information technology, instructional design and technology, mathematics. And I know probably a lot of students have a hard time with mathematics, but they have so many great examples and work and materials and assessments in there that you as a faculty member as well as the students can use to get better.
Well, before you go from there, Dr. Effua, so as a faculty member, are you saying that if I'm a biology teacher, I can just click on that portal? Can you click so we can see what this looks like?
Yes, ma'am. So I went ahead and clicked on the biology community portal. And as you can see, it has showcases in there. It has a welcome from the editor. It has the new materials, the members. These are members from all over the United States, nationwide. And then it has the materials, the disciplines, everything just within biology. It has biochemistry, biophysics, biodiversity. It has all subjects within this portal that you can use. And then it has the journals, the professional organizations that also are in partnership with MERLOT. They have everything across the board. So it's not just you in here, it's a whole community.
And all of this is free?
Yes, ma'am. All of this is free. And
And
MERLOT also is not just anything that's in MERLOT. MERLOT only has quality in MERLOT. One thing that I love about MERLOT is that on the other websites, you can just type it in. I need information on biology and it will pop up, but it doesn't have the peer review. Everything is reviewed in MERLOT by a peer review board and it is rated. So I can go back and click on, let me go
And
back.
if you have faculty who are interested in being a peer reviewer, it's a great way to increase their scholarship opportunities in the community.
Yes, thank you so much, Dr. Warner. Exactly. So let's say if I typed in DNA as I just did, here's all the information that just popped up on DNA. And you can specify it based on whatever discipline or material type that you need, as you see on the left-hand side. You could just do animation, assessment tool, assessments, case studies, collections. You can go do online courses, quizzes, presentation, whatever you need, reference materials, social networking tools, it's all here. You can even specify it for pre-K-12, grade school, middle school, high school, college general ed, upper division, lower division, professional. You can break it down based off of your own specific needs.
but what about an ebook? I mean, what about if I want to use a whole book?
Yes, those are also available here in MERLOT. You just go down the side and click right here on open access. No, that's not the one. Sorry, but just like that, it'll be something you can click on the side and it'll give you open access to journals, ebooks, and on within this site.
And how can you share this with your students, Dr. Ampadu?
Well, you can actually bookmark it. And when you bookmark it, it will save to your personal bookmark. So let's say if you want to tell your students, hey, go on MERLOT, they can type in your name and then they can click on anything that you have ever bookmarked. And the portfolio that you will build, they will just click on it and they can view all materials that you want them to see.
And this is great. When you're training faculty, I always encourage them to have a particular bookmark collection for each of their courses. Mm-hmm. And that way, as they're going through material, they have a bookmark for each of your courses. If you have a graduate assistant that's doing this, as I had done a few years ago, I had a folder for each faculty member I was working on. And then for some of our more senior faculty, if they forget where it was or what you showed them, you can email them the entire portfolio or the entire bookmark collection, and they have it at their fingertips. So that's just some of the both sides of the training faculty to do it, and then supporting them later on helps to have those.
Very true, Dr. Warner. So let's say if I want to click on DNA from the beginning. As you can see, it's already peer reviewed. Here's the user rating. It has 65 comments already. Here's all the learning exercises and bookmark collection. So you see 499 people have bookmarked this collection and also using it for their e-portfolio. So we will just click here to go to the material if you want to see the material. And here is the site. Here's the information. Here's the course. So you'll click on the classical genetics, and then you can click on the first one that says children resemble their parents. And then here you have it, an amazing course, which has the concepts, the animation, which is great. It's great to be able to not just read, but be able to see what the author is talking about. You have your gallery of information that's in there. And then, of course, which is always great, you have video. And
Wow.
I will even play it for you.
Well, we have really only the evidence of the papers, of course, and particularly the one paper for which he's so famous, which is the paper on the hybridization of the edible pea.
So as you can see, you can go to the bio, you can go to problems or have assessments and questions inside there. And of course, it's great they have animation on this page as well to help engage with the students. And then of course, you have your reference material.
What about inappropriate context?
That's why MERLOT has a peer review board. So if it's inappropriate, it won't be on MERLOT. So I love that part about MERLOT as well. It's very user friendly. It specifies everything you need to know. It has language translations. It's ADA compliant, and it will let you know how it will let you know about the ADA sensitivity, and it will be good for students in general.
What if you have a faculty member who just loves the textbook they've been using forever, and they don't think that they're going to be able to find it in MERLOT, but they already have a textbook?
I would encourage them to, they can use their textbook, which is fine, but encourage their students to get into MERLOT. So if they have any additional questions or don't know, or didn't feel like they had enough, let's say, information about the DNA and wanted to do extra, that they can go ahead and click on anything within MERLOT and bring it up. And then also they can have their own, the faculty member can have their own like, bookmark or e-portfolio, which shows additional books and resources that they can go to help explain things that they may need more information on to pass the class.
And MERLOT also has an ISBN search in there as part of their search criteria. So up at the top, if you have a faculty member that loves their textbook, you can type the ISBN into the search engine, and it will find that textbook. It may be a prior version that's been released for OER, or it will find resources that are similar, comparable, or by the same author.
Yes.
And so when you have the faculty member clutching that textbook, search by ISBN. That helps.
Yeah, that helps. Also, if it's not in the MERLOT collection, even though they do, as you can see, have a lot within their collection, they can go to the other federated libraries as well as the web to look for the book that they're looking for.
And all of the OER databases that we've talked about through this workshop all week are part of the other libraries. And so your OpenStax, all of the other textbook repositories that we've talked about will display in other libraries and can be saved to their bookmark collection.
Yes. And Dr. Melton, did you have a question?
Yeah, I have two questions. So, okay, if I don't have a computer, but I'm only using my smartphone, can I still get to all of this information?
Yes, MERLOT is compatible with computers, smartphones, iPad. You can bring it up on anything. It will fit to the page, and you can type it in just like a normal website or a normal app, and you'll be able to bring up anything that you need. So no worries on that end.
So you don't need an up-to-date computer. You can use one of them old computers from long ago. Is this site like available across the globe?
Yes, it is. It's definitely available across the globe. They are global, and I know people who live in Africa and live in Ghana who I encouraged to use MERLOT when they weren't understanding information or weren't understanding class and was having a hard time with their professor. So yes, it's definitely can be used across the globe.
And the MERLOT search app is a great tool. It has click boxes. MERLOT has an app also, so you can utilize the app on smartphones, and it's just MERLOT search and lets you add things to your bookmarks as well.
So you said you created something in MERLOT?
Yes, so I created my own website. Well, first I'll go ahead and show the esports. So I've been creating I've been curating my own esports database where faculty can go and they'll be able to see and help them get the foundation and help them understand that esports can help your students be creative, help them network, help them collaborate, and help them work together. I think esports in helping out with esports, you can see that's probably like the only, um, you know how you work together in a classroom and some people don't like group work. Working with esports is probably one of the highest group work things where people get a lot done. They work together, they communicate, they network. And then within esports, I went ahead and also created my own website for the esports with Tennessee State University. And this is also a good example where you can create your own and create your own content within MERLOT. It already has the titles, the sizes, the font that you can use. It gives you the ability to add in pictures, which is great. The type of text, and it gives you options, anything that helps pull the reader in. So this was like a class that we did, and we were the first university to have a higher ed class in esports. So we went ahead and posted about it to help other faculty and other institutions who would like to have esports, that this is how you can do it.
Can you hit the preview button so we see that
Mhm.
within MERLOT, and all of this is free. They
Yes.
have templates where faculty members can go, cut and paste, create. But can you imagine free websites, free wiki blogs that can be displayed 24 hours, 7 days a week across any device, whether it's a computer, a phone, even wearables, and accessible to everyone across the planet. And this is Dr. Effua's webpage, and she's also getting ready to create a book, no cost, free. So
Yes.
with that, everyone, this gives you a highlight of MERLOT, but now I'm getting ready to share my screen again, and I'm sharing. And now that you know about MERLOT, the curation, that we already have it ready for you. Faculty members, staff, all you have to do is go to the site, and you don't even have to register, and click. And now all of these curations and collections are available and ready for you, even in terms of faculty development. And did you notice, even, we even have virtual labs. So with that, I want you all now to put in the chat some questions so we can address your questions. And remember, all you have to do, www.merlot, like the wine.org, not
So
com.
we do have one question. Someone asked, do they create a profile in MERLOT? If you want to save your bookmark collections, yes, you will create a profile. It's very easy. You can also import things into MERLOT if there's something that you found or something that you've created yourself that you want to make available. The great thing with the portfolio is if you have the e-portfolio, you can import that directly into your LMS for your courses. Now, for some of my senior faculty, that import thing just throws them off, and they'll just copy and paste the link. But either way, it's a curated collection that you'll have bookmarks, and it can be imported directly into your LMS from the e-portfolio feature. Looks like we have another question or statement from Denise, that textbook publishers are trying to remain relevant, and one way that that they do that is by hiding OER behind a paywall. A number of publishers have also tried to put some OER into their offers. Let's see. The publishers are saying that educators and students get extra resources when a charge is attached to otherwise open resources. Do you and your team believe these fees are necessary and provide educators and students materials that they could not get on their own from affordable learning solutions?
Yes, let me address that. What Dr. Malloy is saying, many of the publishers now are promoting open education resources. One more time, publishers are now saying go open education resources. And yes, they do have a lot of their content open. However, behind the walls that Dr. Malloy indicated, you would have to pay fees for maybe a guidebook, maybe for the assessment, maybe for supplementary material, maybe for the video. It's almost like those apps where they say it's free, but when you get into it, you have to pay the cost. I just want to stop here and share with you the Tennessee State University OER campus implementation. We engage the academic officers from the provost to the deans to the chair, all the way down to where we are piloting OER among the departments in terms of adoption, support, and planning. We also compensate our faculty members who are willing to pilot, but we also have a special guest on. If Angel is still out there, if you can unmute, or if you can just put down your name in the chat. Angel is part of our TSU librarian staff. She is also ready to help faculty member with OER. So if you call our reference desk and you are searching for materials, our staff, and Angel, I don't know if you can unmute, ready. They even have a website and will help find open education resources. And that's under Dr. Glenda Alvin, who is also a very advocate in promoting OER. Here is our deployment findings. We will start this spring with training and awareness. Now, if you're out there, it's free. We're talking open education. We don't care if you're from TSU. We don't care where you are. You can join us at no cost. I'm talking about the detailed hands-on training. This summer, we're looking at course design, how to embed open education resources in your courses. We have instructional designers ready to help faculty members. Now, for the TSU faculty members, we have the pilot for the fall and the spring, and then we come back together, all of us, a worldwide invitation to find out the results of our year-long pilot. So again, we help our faculty, as the video indicated, we help them to curate, add materials, create materials, and of course, e-portfolios for your students. So let me recap. MERLOT, free and low cost e-textbooks, accessible anywhere, anyhow, free e-portfolio, shareables, security, language translation, and live webinars. So with that, I just want to go back and have Dr. Deborah Chisom to jump on to show the TSU site. Dr. Chisom.
Thank you, Dr. Melton. Excel for Ed, Tennessee State University's Open Education Library. This site is our personal Tennessee State MERLOT collection. We designed this for our faculty and students. The site also provides students and faculty easy access to quality, free, and open e-textbooks and digital curriculum. This site is good for everyone, anyone, and access at any time and anywhere. Tennessee State University is committed to seeking new ways to foster student success and encourage students to graduate in a timely manner. Retention. One initiative that is helping to meet that goal is the Affordable Learning Solutions, which aims to ease the financial burden of paying for textbooks. Okay, so this is the Tennessee State partnership with MERLOT. Listed here are showing the e-textbooks. And as you can see, we have art, business, education, humanities, and so on. So we have over 3,000 e-textbooks in many disciplines that are being used nationwide. Turn it back to you, Dr. Melton.
And thank you. So in case you're wondering, that's great for academics. What about workforce? Do you know MERLOT has now presented the Skills Commons Workforce Open Education site. I'm going to again share my screen, and I'm going to go in, and I'm going to go to my browser, and I'm going to type in Skills Commons. And if one of my team members can put it in the chat, that's www.skills with an S, commons with an S.org. Ladies and gentlemen, we have for you an open education workforce development digital library. This is for your careers. So if you are in nursing and you're going, so what type of open resources do you have for nursing? Just like MERLOT, you just type in your career and it will bring up what is happening in the industry. And this is where you start to screen. Look at material type. You have a syllabus already prepared, 166. So if you were forced to go online during the pandemic and you go, wait a minute, where do I start? We have syllabi. Look at presentation, collections, assignment. How about simulation? But this is what you love. Ladies and gentlemen, do not reinvent the wheel. You have hybrid courses, online courses, modules already ready for you. Is it free? The answer is yes. Remember your Creative Commons, but here's a full course, Transition to Nursing. Ladies and gentlemen, you can zip the course down. You can modify it. You can add your bread and butter, or what they say, icing on the cake. You have Word documents. You can create. Look at the material type. So, and projects, and even course assessment and peer review. So again, looking at the syllabi, you can download it and modify it, but you should be going, oh my goodness. Again, this is Skills Commons, where you type in your career, and in that you have open education resources up to date. And this is on behalf of MERLOT and the Labor Department of the United States. So with that, we are getting close to our closing.
We do have a question in the chat, Dr. Melton.
Yes.
Someone asked, can I house an entire book on MERLOT? In other words, can they use original content in combination with curated OER materials to create a textbook available to their students, and that's become their ebook for the class?
Okay, and I'm going to say yes. My panel is going to say yes. Dr. Chisom, what would you say?
Yes.
Dr. Ampadu?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
And Dr. Warner?
Yes, indeed. The content builder in MERLOT is perfect for that.
Yes.
And will we train you? I say yes.
Yes.
And is it free?
Yes.
Yes. Even our help is free.
Yeah.
I mean, hey.
And are we talking quality? Are we talking instructional designers? Are we talking about free 24 hours,
Online.
7 days a week? What would you say?
Online. Yes, online and online. Yes.
So with that, now it's only up to you. We have given you the knowledge and now the skills. All you have to do is click on MERLOT and go to town. And if you want more live webinars like this, can we offer this even beyond OER week? I say yes. What do you say, Dr. Chisom?
Yes.
Ampadu?
Yes, we can.
Dr. Warner?
Yes, indeed.
So on behalf of Tennessee State University, as we always say, yes.
Yes.
And
Yes.
and yes.
Yes.
So thank you all very much. And we hope to see you within our yes, 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 yes. And again, make sure you continue this week with more open education resources, webinars, because it's all about students. Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.